He shuffled onto the airfield like a ghost from another era, an aging combat veteran no one recognized. Until the technicians failed, the helicopter stayed dead, and a furious general demanded the one man everyone else had forgotten. From which part of the country are you watching from? Comment below and let us know. The desert sun beat down on Falcon Ridge Air Base as technicians scrambled around the lifeless UH-60 Black Hawk that sat stubbornly silent on the tarmac. The helicopter had gone down during a crucial training operation, and no one could figure out why it refused to restart. Pilots stood anxiously nearby, helmets tucked under their arms, surrounded by murmurs of uncertainty that traveled like ripples through the ranks. It wasn't just any mission at stake. The aircraft was needed for an emergency medical operation scheduled to launch within hours, and every failed attempt to bring the engine back to life tightened the grip of fear around the base. Sweat dripped from the forehead of lead technician Harris as he slammed the diagnostics manual shut for the third time that morning. The general, a stern man named General Rutledge, paced with a mixture of impatience and concealed dread. The helicopter was critical, and his reputation was on the line. He snapped at the technicians, demanding answers, but none came. Every mechanic repeated the same conclusion. The restart sequence wasn't responding, and they were out of options. The general lifted his radio, hesitating, not out of fear of failure, but because the name he was about to utter was one no one had spoken in years. A dusty sedan rolled through the gate 15 minutes later, drawing confused glances from the young officers. Out stepped an elderly man with a rigid posture and faded scars along his jawline. Samuel Sam Harlow, a forgotten combat veteran who had once piloted helicopters in some of the harshest war zones overseas. His reputation had been legendary decades ago, but after a quiet retirement and the tragic loss of his son in combat, he withdrew entirely from military life. Rumors swirled that he cut ties with everyone, including the general. Yet here he was, summoned from shadows of memory and grief. The technicians shared doubtful glances, some whispered cynically, unsure what an old veteran could offer when modern tech had failed. But Sam didn't flinch. He walked straight toward the helicopter, his gaze sharp, his fingers brushing the metal fuselage, as if reacquainting himself with an old friend. He asked for silence and climbed into the cockpit. The technicians almost laughed when he ignored the computerized diagnostics and instead removed a side panel to inspect wiring manually. Minutes stretched on. Finally, he discovered an overlooked fracture in the fuel circuitry, a subtle disruption that would have been missed by anyone without intimate mechanical knowledge from decades earlier. As he explained the issue, the technicians blinked in disbelief. It wasn't just the wiring. Sam realized the restart sequence had been overridden due to an old safety protocol only used during wartime emergencies. He recognized it instantly because he had once activated it in a firefight to prevent enemy hijacking mid-battle. With the general watching, Sam corrected the circuitry and reset the system. The helicopter roared to life, blades spinning, startling everyone into silence. But just as relief swept the airfield, chaos erupted. A sudden dust storm swept over the base, threatening to ground the aircraft once more and cancel the medical mission entirely. As the wind whipped across the tarmac, Sam barked orders to secure the area, his voice cutting through panic. The young officers moved instinctively, obeying him despite his lack of rank. When the storm subsided, the helicopter remained operational, secured, and ready. The general approached him, gratitude etched into his stern features. But before praise could be offered, Sam spoke quietly of his son, revealing the painful reason he had vanished from service. His son died, saving a downed crew, and Sam had believed he could have prevented it. The guilt drove him away. The general, once his closest friend, had respected his grief and stayed silent through the years. A new twist emerged when Sam requested to join the mission, insisting his experience could ensure success. The general hesitated. Protocol didn't allow retired veterans on board. But when the pilot objected, claiming Sam was a liability due to age, the general snapped and invoked emergency authority. Sam boarded as advisor, and during the medical evacuation, he calmed frightened civilians and guided pilots through treacherous winds. They completed the mission flawlessly, earning applause from everyone on the tarmac when they landed. The technicians, once doubtful, now looked at Sam with awe. The base honored him in a small ceremony afterward, not with medals or speeches, but with respect. Sam didn't want recognition. He only wanted to prove that experience never truly fades. As he prepared to leave, the general placed a hand on his shoulder, a silent reconciliation between old friends. Sam drove away, knowing he had finally made peace with his past. The airfield returned to its routine, but the technicians would never forget the day modern technology bowed to an old warrior's wisdom, nor the forgotten veteran who proved that true skill never ages. If you enjoyed this powerful story and want more dramatic military and human heroism tales, don't forget to subscribe and join our channel. We'd love to have you with us for the next adventure.